now we remove the screws here in the front and drill the holes. Now we're just gonna let it dry a little bit and then fill it. Yeah, we do this sort of as a test section. We think that we're gonna redo the entire deck, of course, because that's what we're planning to do. But if this turns out to not work at all in this area, then we know that. When we bought the boat, we were sure that we were gonna remove it all and paint or something instead. But so if it doesn't work, then we are back to our original plan. But we will do our best to save it. Bought a lot of teak plugs. Now we're gonna continue. We have bought 2,900 more.
All they had in stock.
Yes. So now we have made a lot of progress with removing screws and adding plugs. With the method we have been using when doing this is that we remove the old plugs that are the ones that are worn down, the ones that look good. We let them stay for now and then we take them later. So after we have removed the screws, we drill the hole deeper down to the gel coat.
So as we're not putting in a new screw anyway, we drill the hole all the way down to the gel coat to be able to get a plug all the way down to the gel coat. And if this method actually works and the teak that stays in place, we will be able to sand it quite far down.
Yep. And after that it's cleaning, vacuum cleaning, and then with some acetone as well. Then we put the plugs in place, and we start by adding some acetone on the bottom of the plug. We don't really know if it's necessary, but it feels good to do it anyway. If we get them to bond a bit better, then it's a win.
Yeah, with this method there's really no reason for us to, we're never going to remove the plugs.
And then adding some epoxy into the holes.
And the epoxy we add it and then we let it sit there for a while to just make sure that it doesn't pour in, because obviously we have a screw hole here in the bottom of the hole into the core of the deck. So we fill it up with epoxy resin and then we just let it stay there for a while to make sure it doesn't go away basically. And then we put in a plug with some epoxy in the bottom of the hole and punch it in.
And then it looks like this. Here you can see that this old caulking thingy is quite high. So that's where we're gonna do the rough sanding later. So we just get this down to a more even surface and then continue with the rest of the teak deck some time later on. We will have done rough sanding. It's much smoother, even though like this we're gonna need further sanding. And then there's this caulking that is really bad or gone in some places that we're gonna work on.
Okay, so we come to the the upper rooftop here, and these teak pieces are quite loose in both ends. So we will try to remove them and replace them as we did with the piece in the front. Okay, so the previous pieces were quite tight against the plastic here, and then there was no caulking in between. But I think we will keep a gap here instead and put some sealant in there instead. So that's the reason for why they came loose in the beginning, because it's been coming in water here and a lot of dirt and stuff. So first piece is done. Quite happy with the results. I think it's a good fit. Left some space in between here now so we can put in some sealant there as well. Then I will probably sand it off in like a chamfer so water will drain off. Then I'll do the second one tomorrow. It's quite late now, so I don't think it's really... it's a bit late to use the power tools in the marina, and it's a Saturday evening, so...
Planks are primed, and now we prime the surface here as well with all these special Sika primers that we used for the middle piece as well.
So the primer has cured or pre-cured or whatever you said. Let's put these pieces in place.
And there is one primer for the teak and then another one for the gel coat surface. Second one is almost glued as well. I'm just gonna let it cure and then continue with the caulking, whatever that word is. I'll never learn, I think.
It's a difficult one to pronounce. It's really killing my hand.
And yeah, again for this we just tape some extra on the low surfaces so we don't get this caulking in places that will not be sanded down in a long time.
Okay, so far we haven't really found any areas where it's really wet in the core of the deck. Obviously it's quite difficult to see, but as we drill out the holes, we try to also drill down in the actual hole, in the screw hole in some places, just to see what's in there. And so far it's actually been just dry balsa, which was quite a surprise to us. I mean, I think we were expecting more leakages. I mean, obviously there are leakages in some places. I wouldn't doubt that, but it doesn't seem to be that bad at all. And we'll see how long this will last. We're really relying on the glue now instead of the screws. And I tried to read up a lot on this topic, and there seems to be different opinions on the need of the screw, if it's only there to keep the planks in place during gluing, or if it's actually a part of the structure later on as well. I think it depends a lot on how the gluing has been done. If it's been a proper gluing from the start, I mean obviously you glue teak decks today, vacuum gluing though, but still they're glued in place. But if you do a good gluing from the start, I think, or at least I hope, it stays in place with just the glue. But we'll see. We didn't really have that much options because we cannot really, I mean in most places there's so little teak left, we cannot really put the screw in anyway and the plug, so we don't really have that much options. The other option would be to remove the deck, and that I mean we will try to prolong the life of it a bit, and then maybe remove it later instead.
We don't expect this to last 30 years.
No, of course not.
We're delaying a big chunk of work here.
Yeah.
And this is also probably the cheapest solution for us right now, also, to do this work instead of removing it and
yeah, and also the work
it.
with, I mean, we spent quite some time on this now, but it's not that much, to be honest, and we don't really have that much time to spend on this right now. We have a lot of other things that we need to do as well, so it felt like the best, like it's also of course a compromise, but the best solution for us right now. Yeah, and of course, I mean, in some places where the teak is a bit thicker, actually, we have left some screws in where we have drilled them a bit deeper, and then went from this old school quite thick head screws to thinner heads, and put in a plug. It's only probably only a couple, 2-3 millimeters, but still it got in there. So in some places we're keeping the screws. Let's say this edge piece, for example, it's obviously more, it will come loose easier, I guess, rather than the middle piece, because it has more structural support from its neighbors here. So some of these pieces we have left the screws in. Let's see in 5 years if we have loose teak planks everywhere, or how it goes.
Or if we can prolong it another time.
Yeah, we have roughly 8 millimeters of teak left right now. And I mean, if this works, then we will be able to sand it really far down, because then it's basically like a glued teak deck. So then it will potentially last quite long, actually. Okay, so now we're doing the last 3 screws on each side, and that's because it's a sandwich deck until here, and then it switches over to a single just GRP, solid GRP, the last piece against the hull side here. I mean, the reason for waiting with this but is that we need to take some special care, because it's basically dripping in the epoxy here, as it will be a hole straight through the GRP. It's really nice that the design is done that way, because that means, I mean, obviously you will have a lot of different through holes here. You have the screws for cleats, you have filling caps, stanchions, and other stuff close to the hull side, and that means that there's no, I mean, if you would have a leakage there, it won't go into any core and wet it. It will basically just drip into the boat, which is normally not, I mean, obviously you can damage the interior and stuff, but you'll see it quite quickly, and you can do something about it. We haven't found any place actually where it's leaking so far, but if it would, it's super simple to just take the whatever screw or thing that's leaking away and rebed it.
In general, the interior is very non-complicated around these places. It's just removing a roof
It's
panel.
one roof panel, and then you have full access to everything, which
so
is
it's super nice.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
We're gonna do some work later with the cleats.
Yeah, that's actually one thing that's not very good.
Yeah.
We realized when we were moored that one of the cleats in the back was moving a bit when it came some waves, which is obviously not that good. So we just removed the roof panel and checked, and it's basically no backing at all. So I mean, it sits with this in the rail here, and then with these 2 screws, and this 2 screws has just like a regular washer this size and nothing else underneath it. So we'll do some work there to put on like a bigger backing, something like this, to really spread the load over a bigger surface area. Because right now it doesn't really feel very good. I mean, obviously they've had it like this for always, but it doesn't feel very good to have it that way. It feels like it's flexing way too much.
So this bottom piece, which is the last one, this one we actually could keep the screws in. Yeah, there is so much teak left on this one, so we wouldn't be able to, yeah, the plugs wouldn't fill the entire. And now we have done all big batches. I guess there will be some leftovers for the plugs we didn't remove, and I guess some of them will come loose.
But right now there is no one. There's actually one on the starboard side that we missed.
Yeah. We have missed. And
Maybe.
we got that's the one we know of also. that was the final done, the forgotten one.
Yes.
And now we're gonna do the rough sanding, and then we'll see where we continue with this. I guess it's a little bit dependent on how the weather will be during the autumn.
Yeah.
Otherwise it will be something for spring.
Yeah.
It feels really good to have this done now during summer, because with this high edges, it has been a lot of water standing on the deck. So.
Yes, just to get everything rough sanded before the winter or before the autumn would be really nice. But I don't think that will take that long time. It's a couple of days maybe.
Yeah.
Or evenings, as we're gonna start to work now.
Yes. Summer is over.
End of vacation. Okay, so we started off doing the rough sanding with this one. It's a 150mm pad and a 40 grit paper. But it took quite some time actually to remove all the material. So then we switched to this one, which is actually our polishing machine, and using the same paper. And this is really quick. I mean, you just have to be careful so you don't remove too much. And also it leaves a bit of marks, so I leave a bit basically and take the last sanding with this one, because that one leaves more or less no marks at all. So I started off rough sanding the teak in the cockpit. Unfortunately, I forgot to put out the camera, so I've already started a bit, but I still have the seats and the floors left.
In this boat, when we bought it, there was a dishwasher, which we now got up and running, we think. Now I'm gonna load it with some of our dirty dishes and see if they get clean. It's like this bench dishwasher, runs a very short program, only like 28 minutes or something like that, according to the manual at least, with quite some hot water. Dishwasher is loaded. Now let's start it.
It's a bit weird, it starts, but you have to keep pressing it for 10 seconds for it to actually continue as well.
This looks clean. This was the dirtiest one.
Ooh, nice.
Really nice. Oh, what a luxury.
Let's see if we have energy enough to run it as well.
We have found a second-hand cooktop. We are now working on getting in place. An induction cooktop. The new cooktop is in place. Let's try it.
Interesting. So we're still on the inverter.
Boost is on.
2.2 kilowatts.
2.2 kilowatts on boost mode on the small one.
Wow, that was very quick, huh?
Yes, way faster than the
And then
alcohol stove we've been using or anything we used to. Wow, what a luxury this is.